sky keeps on turning. I just turned on the radio to see what was playing. I don't have my speaker in the car. Being at the shelter, it's just all the cars I see with plastic on their windows. I'm just trying to cut down on the temptation. Living at a shelter and driving around. Happy Sabbath. Another rainy day in Portland. Sitting and pondering life at McDonald's. It's the story of my life. It really is. What is it supposed to look like when you're dying? Guess I'm gonna go out with a bang. One thing it looks like is the world just ceases to be, even though it is. That's a paradox of paradoxes. Because when you can't live in the world anymore, it just ceases to be, even though its demands are all around you. They really don't affect you anymore. I've been door dashing, and that's been fruitful and given me hope. Life is all about perspective. My first hospital visit when I was traveling in Tennessee, and I got videos on Facebook of it with my crayons in my nose and all the crazy stuff that God does when, you know, I try to exist in this world. Over there preaching the gospel, telling people that a fireball is going to come out of heaven and hit the Parthenon. It's what Ellen White said, so I feel confident that it's going to happen. Anyway, all of that because of the water in my car. And now I could care less about the water in my car, because after my visit to LA and going to the hospital there and nearly losing the car, the water is irrelevant. And it doesn't drip very much at all unless the air conditioner is running. So pretty much we're in winter, and I've got a tiny puddle over there, and I just am not worried about the water in the car anymore. I was slamming the doors of the car and talking to myself or talking to God about the situation when they arrested me. It was cops that took me to the hospital, honking my horn accidentally as I was trying to get the water out of the car. Anyway, the world just ceases to be what it is, which is nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Dying of terminal cancer, and they want to jab me with needles and knock me out, and stop the death process, which I'm not interested in stopping the death process, and that's what chemotherapy is all about. So, you know, if you're trying to do that, you haven't accepted life on life's terms, which is what the big book talks about, and the 12 steps are all about accepting that things you cannot change, which I cannot change the fact that I have the death process happening at an accelerated rate according to our world. I really never imagined myself dying at near the age my dad did, but here I am celebrating his quarter-century death this year in the desert prior to my Los Angeles 40 days and nights of homelessness. In a real way, like in a way that when you have a car or a vehicle, homelessness is a little different than it is when you're just out on the street with a tent and a sleeping bag and the cement. Life is all about perspective. Thank God for the car with the water leak and all of its issues. DoorDash has given me hope that I could get another car with different issues that aren't moldy smelling and all of that stuff. It's a pretty lucrative situation around Portland here. A lot of people ordering lots of stuff. Christmas and New Year's in just a few months. Well, in just a month I could have what I had to pay for this car, which I paid $2,500 for, and it's driven me all over the United States of America all summer long and through the fall. So I'm not complaining about this car at all. But I could replace it with another one that doesn't smell like mold and everything in just a very short time if I work real hard and maintain my strength, which right now I'm able to do it. I was able to do it throughout all that cancer I was dealing with for 8 years, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Could die in a car wreck DoorDashing. You just never know. I really believe it's all about our mental mindset. So anyway, it's another day. Another day to turn my mind towards God. Let Him take thought of what I'll eat and what I'll drink and where I'll lay my head. And all of my traveling now that I've landed back in Portland, where I lived for 2 years with Sarah and Juan while I was waiting, I guess, to find out what was wrong with me. That's what I did for 2 years, sit in the bedroom and wait. That's about all I could do. It kind of felt like coming home just because I was a little bit familiar with the area around her house. So that was nice. And I didn't really get to drive around or explore very much when I was here those 2 years. So it's like being someplace I don't know at the same time when I was traveling. Except now I can make a little bit of money and keep my car insurance paid and have Wi-Fi because I can pay for the unlimited data on my phone. If I get into an adult care home, then if I feel like I can't work, then I don't have to. Just enough to keep the car rolling so that I can do whatever I can do until I can't do that anymore. Yeah. If I work hard enough and can change out cars, then I can maybe drive east and be able to go to Paul's graduation. He graduates next spring. So that's a little goal I have on the plate. Now that I've come to terms with my homelessness and found a place to be. Lord willing, I'll still be well enough I can drive east and travel again, and I can DoorDash anywhere in the U.S., I think, because I DoorDash between Vancouver and Portland. It just switches me over zones. And that one little kid I watch, Ryan Trahan, he DoorDashed, I do believe, in a rental car. So we'll see. Maybe my next travel experience won't be so difficult. I can do what he did. He did an Airbnb in every state or something, so I could do what he did and just rent an Airbnb here on the way. Paul made tents. Our modern day tent making is door dashing, I would guess, or Ubering, or any of these app related money making schemes is what they are for the people who are getting wealthy off of it, because it ain't the people driving around delivering it getting wealthy. That's a fact. They're a means to the rich man's end. Last night I delivered to this guy who ordered alcohol. It was my first alcohol delivery, and of course it was going to be this huge order that was heavy. I couldn't even hardly lift the box. It had to be like 60 pounds. I don't know what he had in there, whether it was 12 bottles of wine or what it was. It was a case. Anyway, bless his heart, he looked like he was in worse shape than I was, and I was hoping he could help me get the box in the house, so that was quite an ordeal, and his driveway was on a slope like this, so I'm trying to hold the door while he's trying to get the box and get up the hill. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it up the hill, and it was a double order for like $6, so it was a real low paying order. It was a food delivery and a wine delivery. Anyway, he was the last delivery. They let me deliver the food first so it didn't get cold. And I just said, I'm really sorry, but I just had double abdominal surgery and I've got terminal genetic cancer, living in the shelter, just trying to keep the car insurance on my car, which has been my home for a long time. I wish I could get this box out of the car for you. And he ended up tipping me $6.50. And I didn't say all that. I just felt terrible because here I am doing DoorDash and I could not lift that box. There was no way. And I did get it from the cart, which I wheeled it to the car into the car, and that was such a struggle. I knew, oh my God, I thought, oh, if this is a situation where I have to go into an apartment building, there is no way I'm getting this thing. Anyway, it was a house, but the driveway was like that, and it was just just one of the things. I don't know if he was drunk or what the deal was. He didn't smell like he was drunk, but he did look disabled or something. He had a hard time getting it in the house. And he was a big man. He was just limping, so he had something going on. I don't know what it was, but this is life. This is life. And I'm grateful for life. Anyway, I'm gonna figure out what I'm doing. I was having my morning meditation time with the seagulls, contemplating life, death, purpose, meaning. I will say everything does come apparent in the end, too. Sarah just wants to make cookies and take them to the neighborhood like I did when she was little, and she wanted to do it with me and her daughter, and my mom has never wanted to do those things. And even still, she didn't want to be on FaceTime when Rafa opened his presents Christmas morning because I was there, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's sad. But it is what it is, and I'm grateful that I was able to break that terrible cycle, whatever that is, in my family, where my daughter and I can create memories like that, heal trauma, love each other. I hope everybody had as blessed a Christmas as I have. Peace.